Welcome back to the show, folks. I think we're back. This is our first ever Drive Time WWE pay-per-view preview, and we're going to preview Payback coming at you very soon. Let's go. We're going to run down through the matches, give my thoughts on the matches. Of course, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Payback coming up kind of tends to be a filler pay-per-view and stuff like that, but what we've seen in recent times is they have been knocking some of these pay-per-views out of the park and stuff like that, and Payback looks like some little sprinkling of decent stuff in there, but a lot of it is kind of just, it seems a bit mundane and stuff like that. So obviously on the back of AEW All In, a massive successful event in London and stuff like that, it's going to be tough for WWE to come back out of the traps and match that and stuff, you know, so we'll see what happens. But let's run down through the card anyway. So first of all, we got Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This is an interesting one since Rollins got the World Heavyweight belt. You know, he's had 2 matches against Balor, which have kind of flattered to deceive. It's been more about the Judgment Day and you know, sown that seed of that internal issue and problems in the Judgment Day and stuff, more so than being about the belt and the title match. Even though the original vignette they did what it did for it was very good, 7 years in the making and all that, kind of got spoiled by sowing the seed for the internal combustion of the Judgment Day that's coming up, obviously. But this is slightly different. He's going into this once against Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke again trying to break out of that mid-card obscurity and become relevant again in the higher end of the card. Always a struggle and stuff like that. Not a great background story to this, really. Kind of felt like Shinsuke was next on the conveyor belt basically for a title shot kind of thing. Rollins putting in some good work, but I'm not expecting anything amazing out of this at all. I don't expect any longevity in it. I think the storyline based on Rollins' back issues is kind of weak, if anything else. I expect Rollins to get the win here and move on, and Shinsuke probably to drop back into the mid-card area. Not expecting a huge amount from it. Wasn't overly impressed with Shinsuke's work in Money in the Bank. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on that one. I think Rollins just retains and just moves on to the next push on, which probably be the push on to Survivor Series or whatever it is. So yeah, nothing amazing about this. On the other hand, Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez does have me excited for the card. Rhea Ripley's been absolutely outstanding. Unbelievable in terms of the leadership of the Judgment Day. Unbelievable in terms of the development of Dominic Mysterio and that relationship there with that has everyone buzzing so much. That side of the Judgment Day is so exciting. And Raquel Rodriguez coming back, I mean, the story is told there. She attacked her partner Liv Morgan. She put Raquel out with a knee injury. So there's a nice little build up, a nice bit of storyline there to build into this match. And on the roster at the moment, Raquel Rodriguez, from a stature point of view, is one who matches up nicely and can go toe to toe with Rhea Ripley. We've seen in a number of matches over the last few months and stuff like that, she's been in against competition that kind of struggles against her. Massive mismatch and stuff like that, with the exception of the Natalya match, where Natalya matched up against her nicely and stuff like that. But other than that, roster wise, it's a struggle really to find people that are kind of at Rhea's level at the moment, and so she's sort of broken out of the pack and she's way ahead of everyone else. I think for this one, I don't think Raquel gets the belt on this one. I think Rhea Ripley continues with the belt, and I'd like to see them continue this storyline on and make a kind of a series of it and stuff like that. And I think that would be really, really good for Raquel, because what it will do is it will beef her poor stock as they go along. She will look really good at Payback, even in the face of a loss. No doubt Dominic's going to get involved and stuff like that, but it'll still leave Raquel looking really, really strong, and they can roll on into a number of pay-per-views and continue this storyline all the way. And maybe it's a case that Rhea does the job then at WrestleMania for Raquel Rodriguez or something like that, which would be really, really cool. But I'd like to see both these women go at it over a number of months now, and really, you know, really that involvement of Dominic and stuff like that, and then when Liv comes back, Liv gets involved as well, maybe in the storyline as well. That would be really, really cool. Culminating with Raquel maybe at WrestleMania, getting the belt off Rhea Ripley. That would be very, very cool. So I'm excited for this match. This is one on the card I'm excited for. Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch steel cage match. As we know, the inclusion of the steel cage match is normally to put a halt on the interference in these matches. We've seen a number of matches now where the interference has come in from Zoe Stark, and the inclusion of the steel cage in the matches to keep Zoe away. But as we know, history would tell us with steel cage matches, it rarely stops the interference. With this one though, I think it should be a big one for Becky. I think she needs a big win over Trish in this steel cage match as well, just to propel her stock up a little bit. I think outside of Rhea and a couple of the girls there, the likes of Becky and all, their stock has come down slightly, so it needs to be raised up again, pushing on, you know, beyond Survivor Series then into Mania season basically. So I think that would be really vital for Becky to get a win here. He thinks Zoe Stark gets involved and still ends up in the cage, but I think potentially this time she could cost Trish the match, Becky picking up the win, and then it might lead into a storyline with Trish and Zoe Stark going at it for a number of months. Becky moves on into something new and fresher maybe, because I think they've kind of, the Trish-Becky kind of feud has kind of ran its course somewhat, with Becky hopefully picking up the win, exiting out the door. So yeah, another match that I'm interested to see how it goes, but that's probably what's going to break down that one. Rey Mysterio versus Austin Theory, US title match. Rey picking up the belt, obviously Escobar getting injured and didn't end up going into the match. Nice little angle to this one, insofar as I don't expect Theory to get the belt back, obviously winning the opportunity for the title match back, beating LA Knight, obviously with Miz getting involved. We talk about the Miz LA Knight match in a minute. It's going to be electric looking at the build up. But for this one, he thinks Rey picks up the win, retains the belt, and then that belt and title match is some way used in terms of the implosion of the LWO when Escobar comes back. We could see Rey versus Escobar for the title. Not sure on the time frame for him coming back with the injury, but you could see it maybe around Rumble time or something like that. I'm not too sure on the time frame, not too sure on the severity of the injury, but certainly it's probably laying the groundwork for that. We did say when Theory lost the belt, this could be a good thing. His sort of creative situation needs to be looked at. I think he's been very, very stale the last year on the back of a massive push into WrestleMania 38. I think right after that then he kind of floundered and faltered, and the failed cash in at Clash of the Castle, Tyson Fury knocking him out and all the way back and all the way forward. I don't think there's been a whole lot for Austin Theory to get excited about, and I think maybe creative need to look at him and they need to come maybe from a different angle and package him a little better. He's definitely a superstar in the making, looks the absolute business, can deliver on point with the promos and stuff like that, but I just think the stick that he was kicking, I think just got a little bit stale at the time, and he just needed a bit of refreshment. And I think his run as US title champion as well has just been a little bit unflattering, if anything else, you know. We did expect him after Mania 38 to push on and, you know, move up into that higher echelon of the roster and stuff like that, but it failed to happen basically. So let's see what the plans are for Austin Theory, but I expect Rey to retain here, leading into some sort of infighting or combustion within the LWO, I would imagine. Next up, who have we got? Let's see now. Next up, we've got Miz versus LA Knight. I have to say, this is a match I'm very excited about. LA Knight, as we know, super over at the moment, absolutely brilliant. Spoke on the Bray Wyatt tribute show last night, which got very emotional. I got very upset on it, folks, won't lie. But that delivery of that promo, and next time you see me run type of thing, the Bray Wyatt, you know, push that he did and all. LA Knight is super, no doubt about it. But Miz coming out mimicking was brilliant, and again in Miz fashion as well, that crowd fall for it every single time, and it was absolutely brilliant, and his delivery was brilliant. He had the look down, he had the lines down, and it was all cool, and he was kind of little sort of digs in there in relation to The Rock and Stone Cold and all that kind of stuff. Miz is just electric. When you turn Miz up a dial and you put him into something as exciting as that, his creative juices are just unreal, you know. Very, very special, very talented guy. And he really is now, for people coming through, or people coming in the door, the likes of Logan Paul, Bad Bunny, guys like that and all, Miz is crucial to those guys. We've seen the great job he's done with them and stuff like that. But also into relation to guys that are about to step into the higher side of the roster, you know, moving up that notch and stuff like that. Miz is vital there as well. He's kind of like the gatekeeper. He's the guy who, whether you push on, he's the guy who tests you. Are you truly, really ready to make that step up? And this is a situation where you're going to see this, and I think it's really, really important for LA Knight to put on a real good show here against the Miz and stuff like that, if he really wants that step up into that next level and stuff. And I think he will. I think he's talented enough. He's unbelievable. But just the back and forth between him and Miz have been absolutely exceptional. Miz mimicking him, bringing in little slight digs of The Rock and Stone Cold and all that, and then LA Knight with his promos talking about Miz's World Championship run, WWE Championship run and stuff like that, and how long ago it was, and he was in the shadow of Rock and Cena even when he was champion, all this kind of stuff. So this has got quite gritty and it's got quite down, you know. So really excited for this one. I'm sure the boys will put on a stellar match, and one I'm really, really looking forward to. Then we got the Undisputed Tag match. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens versus Damian Priest and Finn Balor of the Judgment Day. This is a match that, on the face of it, I would normally be very excited about. But what we've seen in previous matches, when you look at Finn Balor, his 2 matches against Seth Rollins, again, it's been about sowing the seed of the infighting within the Judgment Day. And I think this will be more of the same. I think going into this match, the narrative isn't as about, you know, the tag match. I mean, all these boys have plenty of history and stuff like that, especially Balor with the 2 boys. So this should be a sensational tag match. But I expect our expectations to be dampened down, because I expect the relevance of the title match to be way less than the relevance of whether Priest and Balor can coexist as a tag team, and what narrative or what storyline that sends in the end, and how does JD McDonough potentially get involved. We know that JD McDonough's sitting in the wings. We know there's a lot of tension there between Balor and Priest. So this tag match is going to be a very interesting one, but could end up disappointing us again, as we've seen. The match could be spoiled in terms of the relevance of the tag title match, and be overshadowed by the relevance of the Judgment Day and the internal combustion that's going on there, and how they're trying to sell it at the moment. So we've seen it with the 2 Rollins title matches. The input of the Judgment Day and stuff like that kind of spoiled the relevance of the World Heavyweight title matches, and I expect the same to happen here. 4 extremely talented guys who could put on an absolute stellar match, and I really think the sooner the better they just push the button on that Judgment Day situation, decide what they're doing with either Balor or Priest, decide what they're doing with JD and McDonough, the better. I think it's rolling on now, and you know, even Rhea being practically the leader of the Judgment Day now and having to get between the guys and sort things out and stuff, it's kind of waning on me a little bit. Rhea's exceptional, but I just think it's ran its course now. And I think what it's happened now is, at times in trying to sell the storyline of the breakup potentially of the Judgment Day, is hampering the potential of really, really good title matches where the title should be the focus, not the breaking up of a faction. Just my thoughts on it, but that's a breakdown of the card there, folks. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, of course. They were talking about a Jimmy versus Jey Uso match as well. I doubt that's going to happen, and I'm glad it isn't, because I really think in that situation, I think you need time for that wound to get infected, really, to really deliver on it, because there's a lot of layers to that. The twins, family, the tribal chief, the bloodline, all that kind of stuff. And I think the one thing about the bloodline and how it's been so successful over time has been the slow burn and the slow pace of delivering stuff to us. And I think if they just whack Jimmy and Jey out there straight away, I think it's very sudden. I don't think it's in line with what they're trying to do with the Bloodline and what they did with the Bloodline that made it successful. And I think we're better off waiting. I think we'd be better off seeing Jimmy and Jay at Survivor Series. Let it wait, let it marinate a little bit. Let us see how it goes. Let us see where the whole Bloodline thing sits and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's a good call if it's not on it. I think it's too sudden. I think we've learned over history and stuff like that, when people say they're leaving the company and stuff and then they don't sell it properly and they come back really, really quick, I think it tends to fail and it tends to disappoint. So I don't think this is needed on the card. I do think Payback is kind of a filler pay-per-view. It will struggle to deliver on the back of All In London. Kind of feels like a pay-per-view that needs to be just got out of the way, doesn't it? But there is a sprinkling in there of really quality stuff that I'm looking forward to. As I said, Rhea versus Raquel will deliver. Interesting to see how Trish and Becky runs out. Miz LA Knight is going to be electric. Rollins Shinsuke I'm not overly excited about. And like I said, Owens and Zayn versus Judgment Day I think will be overshadowed by the infighting as opposed to the relevance of the title match. As I said, let us know your thoughts in the comments, folks. Give us your predictions as well. Let us know what your predictions are for Payback. Am I on the money? Am I off? Let me know. It's always a game of opinions and stuff like that. Subscribe to the channel, the upper tier. Hit the bell notification. And of course, drop a like on the video. Share the content. We continue to love you for your support. Great community we're building here. Nice blend of pro wrestling and football and all that kind of stuff. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Cheers.